Have you ever felt like your Spanish sounds a little stiff? Like you're just translating words straight out of English? Well, today, we're going to change all that. We're going to unlock two really powerful tools that will make your Spanish sound so much more natural and sophisticated: reflexive verbs and the passive voice. Let's see how they can totally transform the way you communicate. All right, so here's our game plan. First up, we're going to start with what I call mirror verbs, basically actions you do to yourself. Then, we'll figure out how to use a spotlight to change the focus in a sentence. After that, we'll uncover a really cool Spanish shortcut, dive into how to talk about your feelings, and finally, we'll wrap it all up in your brand new expressive toolkit. Sound good? Let's get into it. So, let's kick things off with a really simple question. Just think about your morning routine for a second. You get up, you shower, you get dressed. What's the one thing all those actions have in common? It's you. You are both doing the action and receiving the action. So how on earth do we say that in Spanish? And the answer? Well, it's with something I love to call mirror verbs. The official name is reflexive verbs, and honestly, it's the perfect way to describe them. The action literally reflects back on the person doing it, just like you're looking in a mirror. You're the doer and you're the receiver. It's really that simple. The absolute best way to get the hang of these mirror verbs is to talk about something we all do every single day, our daily routine. This is where you're going to see these verbs pop up all the time. Just take a look at this list: getting up, showering, dressing, going to bed. You do all of these things to yourself, right? In Spanish, that little se on the end of the verb is your big clue. When you see that, you know you're looking at a mirror verb. So how does this actually work in a real sentence? Check out this example. Ella se ducha. That tiny little word, se, that's the mirror. It's what's called a reflexive pronoun, and it tells us that she is showering herself. If you left it out, the sentence just wouldn't work. It's a tiny word, but it does all the heavy lifting. Okay, so we've had a good look in the mirror. Now it's time to grab a spotlight. We're moving on to our second major tool for today, the passive voice. And this one is all about learning to control the focus of your sentence. Seriously, just picture the passive voice as a director's spotlight on a stage. You can choose to shine that light on the actor, the person doing the action, or you can swing it right over and shine it on the object that's receiving the action. It's an amazing tool for changing the emphasis and telling a more interesting story. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, in the active voice, the spotlight is clearly on the author. Simple enough. But look at the right. We swing that spotlight over to the novel, making it the star of the show. La novela fue escrita. The novel was written. See how the entire focus of the sentence just shifts? Now, I know this might look a little intimidating, but trust me, forming the passive voice is basically just following a simple 3-step recipe. First, you take the verb ser, to be, and put it in the right tense. Second, you just add the past participle of whatever your main verb is. And third, and this one is super important, you have to make sure that participle agrees with the new subject of your sentence. That's it. Let's break down another one. El libro fue leído por Juan. We've got fue, that's our ser verb, check. We've got leído, our past participle, check. And since libro is masculine and singular, leído is too. It all matches up. The spotlight is clearly on the book, not on Juan. All right, so we have our mirror verbs and we have our spotlight. Now for the really cool part. What happens when these two ideas kind of combine? Well, Spanish has this incredibly elegant shortcut that I promise you are going to hear all the time. This right here, this is one of those awesome insider tricks that's going to instantly make your Spanish sound way more authentic. It might seem like just another grammar rule, but really it's a clever and super efficient way of speaking that you'll hear native speakers use constantly without even thinking about it. So say hello to the passive se. And yeah, you're seeing that right. It uses that same little word se that we saw with our mirror verbs, but here it's got a totally different gig. You use this when you want to say that something happened, but you either don't know who did it, or more likely, it's just not important who did it. The focus is just on the action itself. This is the classic example. Se vendieron todas las entradas. All the tickets were sold. I mean, who sold them? An employee at the box office? A website? Who cares? It doesn't matter. The only important piece of information is that the tickets are all gone. You're going to see this structure everywhere in Spanish, on signs, in the news, you name it. Okay, let's circle back to our mirror verbs for just a second, because they're not just for physical actions like showering and getting dressed. No, they are absolutely essential for talking about your inner world, your emotions.
Think about it. Feeling something, getting sick, worrying, all of these things are happening inside of you, to you. That's why they're reflexive in Spanish. It's like an emotional mirror that reflects your internal state back at you. Here's the perfect example. Me siento feliz. I feel happy. In Spanish, you can't just say siento feliz. It doesn't make sense. You need that reflexive pronoun, me, to show that the feeling is happening to you, inside of you. And of course, this works for any subject. Nos preocupamos por ti. We worry about you. In this case, we are the ones experiencing the worry, so we use the pronoun nos. This structure is just fundamental to expressing personal feelings naturally in Spanish. Wow. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, and you've just added 2 incredibly versatile and powerful tools to your Spanish toolkit. So let's just do a quick wrap-up to make sure it all sticks. It really all boils down to this. On one side, you have the mirror verb, the reflexive, where the action reflects back on the person doing it. Me levanto, I get myself up. On the other side, you have the spotlight, the passive voice, where you shift the focus. La casa fue construida, the house was built. The focus is on the house, not whoever built it. 2 different tools for 2 very different but equally important jobs. Mastering these 2 concepts really unlocks a whole new level of expression. You can now talk about your daily life with real precision, you can shift the focus to tell much better stories, and you can share your feelings authentically. So the only real question left is, with these new tools in your toolkit, what amazing new stories are you going to tell?